half-time scoreline. It is not a conclusive one. It's Spurs 0, City 1. Well, let's go back to the studio and let's have the views of Shaun Wright-Phillips and Keith Curle and, of course, Natalie.
So City lead at the break 1-0. Plenty of chances for the Blues in the first half, and I'm just really hoping that those missed chances will not come back to haunt us in the second half. But it has been a really good performance from City in that first 45. I have thoroughly enjoyed that, which is a nice, refreshing change. Still joined in the studio by Keith Curle and by Shaun Wright-Phillips. Keith, how would you sum up that first 45?
Exciting. Like Shaun just touched on it then, the last couple of minutes there, the counter-attacking, the energy levels of the players, but also the numbers of players looking to get forward and break forward on the counter-attack, excellent. And again, I think settled very quickly into the tempo of the game. The threat in wide areas is evident, and it's causing Tottenham a lot of problems.
Shaun, do you make it the first 45?
I can echo a lot of what Keith said. I'm also loving Nunez's inside third man run. That's freeing up a lot of space for Savinho to play that ball in. So I can see a lot more chances coming, but we just have to, in many ways, do what we've done in the first half, limit Spurs' chances. They didn't have too much in the game or say, but even with the off-the-cuff header, something nearly happens from it, and obviously Edison saves it. But if we can limit them to another half of one chance, then we're in a good position.
I would just like us to just get another one so that I can breathe. Or maybe, in fact, it might take 2 or 3 right now. But we've had the chances. So City's goal came from Erling Haaland, who has an incredible goal-scoring record in London. So Haaland gets it. It is lovely play down the flanks from Jeremy Doku again, who squares the ball to Erling Haaland. And in the end, Keith, thanks to the wonderful work by Doku, it was a fairly simple finish for Erling.
Yeah, very much so. And I think the final pass took a slight deflection. But again, it's like getting people in the right areas at the right time, arriving, and then a clinical finish. The actual build up to the play, you feel sorry for the fullback when you see Doku running at you. Like the one danger you have now is when wide players are playing well, they want the ball all the time, but then they go deeper to look for it, and then they're less of a threat. So the discipline they need in their game is, can they stay high? And then it's about the rest of the team get the ball to the wide areas in the final third, because they can cause them lots of problems.
So in terms of that goal-scoring record, I just found it. Erling has scored 6 goals in 5 Premier League games in London this season. So that'll be 7 goals in 6 Premier League games this season. It's a pretty decent rate for Haaland. And, I mean, he could have had another 1 or 2 in that half as well, Shaun.
He could have had a hat-trick. If we're all being honest, I think he picks up the great positions like he normally does. The balls come in to him. And if it wasn't for Vicario, like what happened in the previous game, he puts his body or gets something to it to stop it from going in. I'd say maybe the last one where I think he hits it straight at him, he probably could have did a bit better, and he most probably knows that himself. But other than that, his positions, he's picking up the problems the wingers are causing, the way we're retaining possession of the ball, the way the defenders are defending when they are trying to play that long ball. They're kind of anticipating that as well, so they're ready on the run before the ball comes through. It's been, for me, an all-round great team performance.
In terms of that first goal, I know we'll talk to you about Doku, because I know obviously you're a big fan of the wingers. How good was Doku for that first goal, for the way that he held it up and for the final ball that he got in?
It was good all around. He started the game in many ways like he did against Liverpool, where he was direct and let Pedro know it's going to be a hard night for you, sort of thing. And the first time he gets past him, well, he waits him and he sees Haaland, he does look for him, but he passes that ball too early, and you can see everybody's face, nobody understood, including myself. The second time he gets past him, he takes his time and tries to find the pass. Yes, it takes a little deflection, but you can kind of see what he was trying to do. And the finish from Haaland for me was cute, because Vicario, again, doesn't sprint straight to the centre of his goal. He kind of labours it across, and for Haaland to take the weight off that ball that comes into him just to edge it back in the corner where he came for me, was a fantastic finish.
So it's 1-0 to City at the break. We're going to go back over now to the London Stadium to get the thoughts of FG.
Yes, thank you. Welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Half-time, Manchester City, 1 goal to the good. An interesting half, actually, because there were so many chances from a Man City perspective. And then at the end of the half, a great save by Edison.
Yeah, action-packed. And I feel quite thankful that it's only 1-0 because you lot had so many chances. Doku creating havoc on that wing. Haaland looking sharp again. Should have possibly had 2 or 3. But we live a charmed life and all to fight for in the second half.
Yeah, it's interesting. From a Spurs perspective, you must be thinking, OK, we've kept ourselves in the game, and that'll probably be the message from the manager as well. And the game probably will open up in the second half.
That's it. And then you look at the bench, and we've actually got a firepower on the bench again. Kulusevski, Son, you've got players out on the bench that can come in and make a difference. And as long as we can keep the score respectable, we can possibly catch you, get behind that back line that haven't really played together, and then hopefully get 1 or 2.
I mean, the goal as well was actually well worked. We spoke about it earlier on with Brownie here as well. It was the ball out to Doku, and Doku doing his thing, and then to Erling Haaland. They were practicing that for a good 10 or 15 minutes in the warm-up, and practice makes perfect in that.
Yeah, it was an excellent goal. From a footballing perspective, that's a goal you can appreciate. Doku creating magic and havoc on the wing, crossing the ball in, and a number 9 of such magnitude, stroking the ball calmly into the corner, keeper no chance, 1-0. Annoying, but I have to applaud the goal. It was a good goal.
And then again, of course, we had the chance with Erling Haaland, a great save by Vicario, a chance as well over the bar from Savinio, was probably one of them that he probably thinks that he should have scored. And then on the other end, towards the end of the first half, a great save by Edison from the header.
Yeah, Edison, again, didn't have much to do throughout most of the game, but when he needed to be tested, he came alive and obviously stopped a goal. And that's what great keepers do. They're alive and their concentration is there when it needs to be. Fair play.
And how do you see the second half going then? I mean, look, from a Man City perspective, it'll probably be more of the same. Try and keep it tight at the back and take a couple of these chances. But from a Spurs perspective,
we just need to be better on the ball. We've had a lot of the ball, but we haven't really done much with it. We need to test your keeper more. We need to be sharper with our execution, better with our passes, and obviously stop making mistakes in the middle of the park and giving the ball over. Way too easy for you guys on the transition. You're such a dangerous team. We can't allow the chances we did in the first half.
Well, Patrick, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for catching up with us. We will see you all at full time.
Thank you so much to FG and to Patrick. Thanks, Patrick, for coming on there. FG's taken him to a chicken shop, fed him up, and then made him talk about City's goal, which I thought was brilliant. So thank you so much to them. So we are not long away from the second half. City leading 1-0 currently. In terms of other things that happened in that half there, Keith, there was a lovely moment. Well, there was a few lovely moments that I want to talk about. Savio had a chance around about 28, 29 minutes. Yeah. It was another ball from Doku. And do you remember it was the one that went over the bar?
Hit into the ground, yeah.
Oh, what? So he hit it into the ground? Yeah. Tell us about that chance, Keith. What did you think?
Probably, Shaun is probably more qualified. I never used to get that many chances from being up there.
You said you was a winger before?
That's yeah.
That's why he became a defender.
It's a lot easier playing at the back.
I said to Keith while I was on air, I think sometimes that may be a default of him playing on the right-hand side, being left-footed, because if it was a right-footed person, they let that ball come across and they just kind of cushion it. But with your opposite foot, he kind of has to, the ball's bouncing to, he has to open up. And I think it looks an easier chance, but I think it's harder than it looks as soon as it takes that bounce. Yeah. Because then his focus is not only just making sweet contact, it's now, I have to make sure to keep the ball down. And I think he just goes overboard on trying to keep it down, and it goes into the ground and bounces over.
It was another lovely ball by Doku as well. We've mentioned a few times now. A few minutes just after that, there was an opportunity which would have been a goal of the season contender had we scored from it. So City sort of picked up the ball and passed it around the edge of the box. And just after I was trying to make my notes, Shaun, saying who was involved, because there were so many different players involved. So Savio, Nico, Cover, Doku, and eventually it landed at Haaland. Oh, it would have been a beauty, Shaun.
It would have been a brilliant team goal. I thought the way they kept the ball alive, because they tried twice down Savinio's side to try and get in, but it got blocked. And the last one, Nunes comes out, gives it back to Savinio, and they kind of just work it around the box. And even then I thought Doku was going to shoot, but he chose to pick the right pass in the end on his left foot. And I just think Haaland couldn't get an angle on it, it just kind of went straight. But in terms of the build-up play, I don't think Spurs knew what to do with it. They just kept moving them around, and so many people were getting involved in it.
So there was loads of chances by City. Another one just quickly to mention, counter-attack by City in the last minutes. Jeremy Doku steals the ball off Spurs, who were doing a short corner. And oh my God, we broke so fast, Keith. Again, just gutted there wasn't an end product.
Yeah, again, but like, to go back to the goal, I think Doku, so many times on Sunday against Liverpool, had the beating of his man and put the ball into the box. Haaland's got a knack of doesn't rush and get there too early. He knows the space that he wants to be operating in, and when the ball's delivered in there, great finish. And again, so it's going to be interesting to see what Spurs do now, because Andrew will be sat there thinking like, well, in wide areas they've got the beating of our fullbacks. So if we double up there, that means then they can't bring on their more flair players, because they're going to open themselves up.
What have we learned from? We talked a lot in the pre-show about Spurs' selection today. What have we learned in terms of why they've picked who they've picked, and do you think we will see the names, Kulusevski and Son, coming on soon in the second half?
As to coming on, we was actually talking about it. I said it would be strange if he brings them on at half-time or 55 or 60 minutes, because then he was better off just starting them and taking them off at that time, if his idea was to rest and rotate. But he has to do something, but he shouldn't have. I don't think he should have taken Spence out the team. I thought Spence is a better one-on-one defender than both of the two fullbacks that are in there. But Spencer's right-footed. He's put Doku and Doggy on because he's left-footed, assuming that Savinio's going to continuously go to the byline. But he's doing the opposite and coming in, which Spence would have been able to deal with because he's naturally right-footed. So it's a tricky one for him. I don't think he makes any changes yet, personally.
The scoreline dictates that, doesn't it? 1-0, that's still in it.
That's still in it, so I don't think he'll make any changes yet. I think he'll try and leave it as late as possible and hope it stays like this. And then if it does, then he can maybe bring them on and hopefully they nick a 1-1.
Would you like to see anything different from City at the start of the second half?
No, more of the same. I think there was
take their chances. Would you mean more?
Apart from taking their chances, but the mentality, the energy levels, the forward movement, not just keeping possession, but there's forward movement for runners off of the ball. No, very good. We're causing Tottenham lots of problems.
We talked before the show about Kovacic-Nico partnership that we were seeing. Have you enjoyed that in the first half?
Yeah, I have. You can see they're still working out that chemistry and building a relationship while in real game time, because obviously training is never the same as a game. And you can see sometimes, as you saw within the chance that Haaland didn't score, how high Nico was and Kova. They were both on the edge of the box, which is good because they both know where each other are and they're talking, so they know they got protection behind them. So it is very interesting to watch them and to see where Mamouche picks up the space between the two of those and in between the strikers. So it's pretty cool.
Before the second half, Keith, just another quick word on the role of Núñez, of course, in that Shaun mentioned before. Can you explain to us how he's been playing in that first half? What have you thought of it?
Again, he's got the dynamics to operate in wide areas, but also going in. He's got the footballing ability to play in that midfield area, but he's got the energy. Like, the lad wants to get forward as well. And again, so as soon as either Nico or Kovacic sit, they know he's got license to go and play. And again, he can even break like the final line as well, which is an excellent attribute to have, that pace and that dynamics quality. In
terms of your predictions, are you sticking with yours?
I might go 3-0 now.
Yeah.
What I've seen of Tottenham's attack at the minute, I'm happy. As a defender, you're always happy with a clean sheet. But you think like goals, I think there's going to be goals in this half.
Shaun, are you sticking with yours? Your just City win prediction? We couldn't get your...
City win comfortable, right? Or did I just say win?
You just said win, but you can add comfortable now.
I'll take the win. I'll stick with it. As long as we win, we're fine. Because we win, we go third.
Yeah, in terms of the other scores, currently the ones that affect us, Forest and Arsenal are 0-0 and Liverpool are beating Newcastle. So those results indeed go in our favour. The players are coming back out. Always look to see if there's any quick changes. Doesn't look like it, but of course Alistair Mann will always tell you straight away if there is. So, Blues, we will be back with you at full time. Oh, hopefully we are talking about a correct prediction from both of these guys, and City getting up into third in the Premier League table. So, full match commentary now on the Manchester City app if you're not currently watching on there. Alistair Mann and Michael Brown. We'll see you in 45 minutes.
Thanks, Natalie. No indication of any substitutions by either manager. We are expecting both Kulusevski and Son to come on in the second half at some point for Spurs. To be truthful, City should maybe be out of sight, certainly 2 up. Maybe if they play as they have done in the first half, they'll get 2 up anyway. There was just a hint of booing as Spurs made their way off the field. It's a vast stadium, one of the biggest capacities